Okay, looks like we're live. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. I say us like there's more than one person here. It's just me here alone in the studio today, unfortunately. But what a day! Oh, let me turn that. Off. Whoopsie. Let me turn that off. Oh gosh. Okay, there we go. Turn that off. And now that I know the audio sounds good, we're gonna have to talk about. We're gonna have to talk about this. As we can see here, massive gains today for XYO. I wonder. No, okay, so not the biggest gain inside Idec, but for all my token holders out there that purchased their tokens following my tutorial, we're not doing too bad right now, I'd say. We're at very least up 30% from where we got in. That's fantastic. Those type of gains don't happen every day, but it's something that you'll find is extremely possible in the crypto space in general. So, wow. Looking at this chart here, this is a 1 hour time view. Looking at this chart, and gosh, I wonder what could have caused such a crazy spike in the price of XYO. We saw a lot of sell volume here, which didn't really affect the price as strongly as some of that really good news that came out today. So what is some of that good news? Well, if you either went to Spatial or you were watching the Spatial keynote that was posted on the XYO official YouTube channel, or if you were following along watching it in the live stream, you would have seen our friend Scott here, CEO, right around the 108 mark. I want to say it was somewhere around there. He starts talking about a really exciting partnership. So, okay, let's just go ahead and play that.
Last but not least, if you bought a VIP ticket, you'll get to get a tour of our office and how you'll get a first-hand glimpse of how messy my office is. Ed Helms, who is here, can be emceeing the event, by the way. Let's give a round of applause for him.
Okay, round of applause for that guy, Ed.
Ed, I call him Ed now because we're buddies now. He walked into my office and he said, "This doesn't just look like a college dorm room, it looks like a freshman college dorm room."
Oof.
I'm like I'm a sword from a movie called a Peter Pan sword, and then just everything else is thrown. It's like a tornado getting hit. The third day, if you thought geomining sounds cool, we have our brilliant team of engineers that has worked on, and we will be unveiling something that will introduce to the world space mining.
Whoa.
Space anchors. You can extend your
Whoa.
mining kit into space. I wasn't kidding when I said we're going to launch a satellite network. We're going to be doing it sooner than everyone thinks.
Okay, here we go.
And
Here's the big news.
our key launch partner is one of the coolest and biggest names in the entire space. Unintended, because it has an X in their name and space.
Shout out to Crypto Miner in the chat with us.
On Joe Rogan podcast, taking a puff of marijuana. It's legal.
It's legal. Okay, it's legal. I don't know why. I don't know why we're mentioning that.
Oh, hell yes. Okay.
A lot of hands.
Now, I know every one of you will be an XYO token holder after this event, but how many
Anyone who doesn't know, HODL just means hold.
XYO tokens? Wow. But also a chunk of this thing. So that I can try. Go talk to the Ethereum and Casper guys so that they can talk about
Go watch the video about how to buy the tokens on Idec.
Here's the deal. We are going to enrich, as all of you know, every single one of you that purchased a ticket to kickstart this movement with 1 million XYO tokens.
Okay, so I think we're basically at the end of where they're mentioning the fact that there's going to be a partnership with SpaceX. That's crazy. That's ridiculous. Scott didn't specifically say we are partnered with SpaceX. He kind of went about it in a slightly roundabout way, I guess you could say. No big deal, I guess, but it was just very slightly roundabout. Jack Monroe says, should I purchase XYO ASAP? I don't know, Jack. Let's just take a look at the chart here. You missed this bottom, but you're here before a lot of other people are here. Not many people are really privy to the fact that XYO and SpaceX are now partnered. I'm not going to say it's a bad idea at all. In fact, I would venture to say that you'd probably do well. You'd probably do well purchasing some XYO. Again, not specifically financial advice for obvious reasons. But what I can say is that we're definitely headed in the right direction. We knew previously that XYO was interested in launching satellites, and my previous assumption was going to be they did meet with Google, or Google flew down to see them or drove down to see them, or someone from Google's people came to chat with the people from XYO. So my previous assumption was, hey, this would be great if XYO just kind of tapped into Google's network. They've got satellites. They've got the whole nine. But this actually might even be better because we know that SpaceX is in the business of launching satellites. We know that there was an equity sale that recently occurred because, if you're here, I'm assuming most likely you're from the XYO group. So we know a few things in that regard. But to me, it makes more sense that they would launch their own satellite through SpaceX rather than piggybacking off of Google, because then Google would, obviously want a piece of the pie. And if you watch the whole keynote from today, you'll know that Scott doesn't really care much for venture capital. He prefers getting the capital from the me's and the you's of the world, which is fine. That's fine. But Google probably would have wanted to come on as like a venture capital style partner, and not just saying, yeah, hey, we'll lend you the satellites, no big deal. So in that regard, I think that paying up front to have that satellite launched, to be able to access that satellite on the XYO network, and like they're saying, space mining and all sorts of, I'm not exactly sure what they even mean by space mining. I guess more information will come out in the coming days, and I'll keep you guys updated as I can on that. But yeah, again, not financial advice. I would purchase XYO. If you need assistance doing that, you pause me. There's another video in this channel showing how to purchase it on Idec if you're within the United States. If you're not within the United States, I think you can still purchase through the actual XYO page. So, don't be shy. Go there if it makes more sense for you. Otherwise, yeah, right here on Idec, just signing in with MetaMask is how you'll be able to purchase those tokens. So really, really big news as far as XYO. A lot of people in the XYO group on Facebook are really, really gung-ho about the project. But then I've also noticed, to be fair, that there are some people in the group that haven't specifically been inside the crypto world for that long, which is fine. We certainly welcome you. The one thing that we can all agree as blockchain enthusiasts is that we're pushing for adoption. We're pushing to be seen as a mainstream and not just as something that is a fad. Bitcoin's been around now more than 10 years, so I would safely say it's no longer a fad. But new technologies like XYO always have a challenge in the adoption aspect because there's so many other projects out there. It really seems like Scott, the CEO, is taking pages right out of the Sun Tzu Art of War playbook, in that he is not forcing his way into any one particular industry. Rather, he's very, very gently getting into these spaces that are going to make XYO phenomenal. That, along with the advertising that's being done to draw in new people who may not have heard about the project before, is one of the reasons that I chose to invest in XYO. Not just getting the equity, but also investing in XYO, the actual currency itself. I got my hat, and my shirt right there on our clothes rack here in the studio. You know, buying into the XY findables, I guess, company was something that I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it at first. I knew definitely I wanted to purchase tokens because I've heard about XYO before they started doing all the crazy advertising. But buying into the XY Findables company actually might be something very profitable in the next 1 to 2 years, basically just due to the fact that they are mentioning very strong partnerships, what I would consider pretty early on in their existence in this space. Now, as a business, XY Findables has existed prior to the XYO network, which is why buying into the XY Findables company and buying equity was part of what I wanted to do, because the XY Findables network, regardless if XYO is going to be a thing or not, they'll still have the location, sensors, the little keychain things for sale. Those have been on sale on Amazon. I mean, there's been numerous iterations of them. I think we're on the fourth iteration of that particular, what do you call it, a dongle? I feel like trinket is a little bit, I feel like the word trinket's like a little, not mean, but it just doesn't mean as much. I'm gonna go ahead and respond in the chat here. All right, so really happy to have you guys joining. Looks like we've got 5 people here now. I'm gonna just kind of back up a little bit. So what we were talking about here is that XYO partnered with SpaceX. If you go to the video, all I did on YouTube was I typed right in here XYO Spatial. I'm really lazy. I don't save videos often. I just know how to find them. I simply just typed in XYO Spatial. I found the video here. When I watched it, it was only 500 some odd views. Now it's up to almost 3,000. Assuming if I refresh this, that number is going to grow even more as the news about SpaceX breaks out. I wanted to tell you guys first because I saw in the XYO Facebook group, there weren't really a lot of people who were paying attention to that. It was someone else who told me, and then I told a few other people in the group chat or in one of the posts on the XYO group, and they didn't know, and they were thanking me, so I figured, it might make sense to make a video about it. Then my bud Tony decided that it might actually make more sense to do a live stream for you guys. I believe he's in here as Crypto Miner, so what's going on? Just go to this video when you have a chance. It's like the 107, 108, mark, like an hour and 8 minutes that he starts mentioning a partnership. They talk about space mining, and then he says, speaking of space, they're partnering with someone who has an X and space in the name. So he kind of said it backwards, but you're talking about launching a satellite. You're mentioning X and space. The assumption there is there's a partnership with SpaceX, which in the crypto world, you have to be slightly skeptical when they use the term partnership, because it doesn't necessarily mean that, SpaceX is now putting money into the XYO program. It could just mean that they have reached an agreement in order to get those satellites launched into space, which is what I think is actually happening, because SpaceX obviously is a for-profit company. The goal of that company is to assist people and other businesses with space travel, launching things into space. And so that is where the satellites come into play, which is what Scott was mentioning. They've been mentioning this for a while. And again, I initially thought that the partner was going to be Google. It's not. There still could be some sort of a partnership or something with Google in the future. But for right now, we do have at least confirmation, because you can't really lie to people, especially when the Security and Exchange Commission has so graciously allowed you to sell shares to non-accredited investors. Typically, that's not the case with private sale and private equity. Neither here nor there. The main thing is you really can't lie about these types of things. And it really does look like we're in for, how would you say, a quick ride to the moon. Again, looking over here at the actual charts, I mean, we're going anywhere. It's fluctuating based on where it's actually at right now, but we're going anywhere from, you know, the 20s to 35%. I've seen it today as a 24-hour increase. So that means if you would have bought literally 24 hours ago, right now you're up 27%. That's fantastic. So just in I guess more easy to digest terms, if you would have put in $1,000 24 hours ago, you would have had an additional $250, give or take, right now. Let's see. How do I think the location-based blockchain will work with SpaceX? It's a very interesting question. I don't know. What I do know is that right now they're still using a GPS network. So let's take it back a step. So GPS is actually a military technology that costs between 2 million and 3 million USD per day just to exist as the technology that it is. It stems from an even older military technology called LORAD. XYO is right now basically in the LORAD phase of things. Getting to the actual decentralization of GPS is going to require basically the same technology as GPS, right? So Bitcoin, for example, it didn't reinvent the wheel when it came to money. It just made money better. Money still exists in the way that it exists on the Bitcoin network. It's just better. And likewise, XYO is looking to be disruptive in that they don't need to reinvent the whole wheel. The wheel already is there and it already rolls. Now, how do we make that wheel more aerodynamic, more accessible to more people around the world, more of a benefit to society as a whole? That's where cryptocurrencies that are disruptive are going to really come into play. So Crypto Miner says maybe mapping space. Maybe. Honestly, I'm really not sure how that would come into play. Mapping space. I don't know. It seems like it could be a thing. As far as I know, there's not really a whole lot out there. It's mostly empty. So, here's my take on outer space. Right. I think that we should get everything all sorted out here on Earth, get all our ducks in a row here on Earth, and then try to figure out what's going on out there. It'll wait for us, I'm sure. But I do believe that having an actual satellite to where we no longer have to specifically rely on the proprietary GPS technology, which is it is a military technology. It is something that is owned and operated by the military, the United States military, which is basically the military of the whole world. So unfortunately. So with that being said, if there was a way to decentralize that and to make it so that everyone had access to it in a low-cost manner, I think that would be perfect. It would also be perfect for some of their other services. Obviously, bouncing off of cell towers and up to a GPS network and back down is a way to verify location. Obviously, that's kind of the way GPS works now. But using that in conjunction with the other technologies that they have, such as the tracking stickers. I believe there's going to be tracking stickers for the likes of like Amazon and such. So really exciting times. One thing that I did not anticipate was this crazy rise here today in the price of the actual token. I was actually anticipating that we would see kind of a slump, to be honest with you, just based on the fact that they were giving a ton of people 1 million tokens. And then let's say I purchased my ticket solely with the intention of getting those 1 million tokens and then selling them. And then now I have a profit and I was able to visit an event. That's something that I'm sure I'm not the only person that had that thought. So I actually was anticipating, instead of this candle going up, I was anticipating this candle going down. That's not what we saw, though. We saw some really decent gains here today. Let's see here. Some of these chart layouts like the lower, like the 15, 5, and 1 minute really just don't make a lot of sense if you haven't been reading charts a lot. And even for me, someone who stays on the charts all day, I hate looking at stuff like this because it just doesn't make sense when you look at it. Essentially what this means here, like I'll give you an example. Between this time frame and this time frame, there was a gap up in the price, and so you don't see a nice candle going up or a nice candle going down. It stopped here and it started here, and there wasn't enough meat in between to kind of fill it out. So it just makes it a little bit harder to look at. But in any event, I was not anticipating this crazy run up here today. And we can just kind of take a look here. Just really, really, really nice gains. If you've been in XYO for a while, then you've probably seen a few types of gains like these. I'm sure that there's some people that have seen, 300% gains already from the time that they've initially bought in till now. Regardless, though, it's still not a bad time to get in. What I would do is I would follow the tutorial if you haven't seen it, or purchase right from XY themselves. And I would get out there and capitalize on this SpaceX partnership. It's really not every day that a blockchain project gets to say that they're partnering with a company founded by Elon Musk. It's arguable that Elon Musk is one of, if not the greatest business owner of this time. Now, that's not to say that people like Warren Buffett haven't done a fantastic job in their time, but I would safely say that Elon Musk is basically everybody's favorite. He made a pretty decent electric vehicle that gets upgraded all the time. He's doing a lot of things for the environment. We're not going to talk about the Hyperloop because I don't specifically believe in the Hyperloop as a technology, but knowing that SpaceX was at least willing to hear out XYO to see what it is that they wanted to do, and then to help them do it, it means a lot. That's not something that happens with every cryptocurrency or every blockchain project. That's a special thing, and that's why we're seeing this crazy gain here today. Now, I haven't seen the actual price get past. If you're looking here on the screen where it says 1803, I haven't seen the price get past that. So we'll still wait and see, what happens there. But if I look here on this 1 hour, I mean, we came from over here, and that's 131% in 58 days, which is really not a terrible amount of time to wait to make 131%? 131% in 58 days. I mean, you're growing at about 2.2% a day. So it's easy to see that this project has a lot of steam and will probably continue to have a lot of steam moving forward into the future. Do you guys have any other questions regarding XYO? I know there may be some people here watching from the actual XYO group on Facebook. Yeah, no, it's definitely been steady growth. It's been growing. Now this is a little, I wouldn't specifically call this one little pop right here steady, quote unquote. That's more of more on the lines of exponential. This is what we call FOMO here in the crypto space. For anyone who's uninitiated, and I know obviously crypto miner very initiated into the space, but this is what we call FOMO, or the fear of missing out. People see or hear that there's a partnership that other people may have already anticipated coming, right? So we've already been in the XYO, community. We've already been, we've already purchased our XYO tokens. Now the people that haven't purchased XYO tokens or maybe have been putting it off are saying, hey, this really can't wait anymore. There's this crazy partnership with SpaceX. I have to capitalize on that. And mind you, this is the news at this point. This is not even in effect yet. Imagine what the price of the token is actually going to be when the network is open and is being utilized. Imagine when this utility token, which are the only tokens that I like. I don't really care for things that are supposed to be money. I like tokens that serve a utility purpose. You need to use this token to access this set of features. And that's exactly what XYO is for the XY Findables company. It is the gateway currency to be able to query the network to find location data. Their whole thing is about location data, and in order for you to get access to that, it does cost XYO currency, right? So as more and more people are using that, the price is going to steadily raise, but we're going to get to a point here where eventually, let's say, for example, Amazon were to partner with the XY Findables company and then start using the XYO currency when sending packages. We saw today where the first transaction that occurred on the XYO network was a drone delivering a package. That is one of the most promising use cases, I would say, for the XYO currency, is being able to, let's say with part of your Amazon Prime membership, for example, there's a sticker that's slapped on the box, and then you don't actually pay for the item until it gets to you. Or let's say even further, for Amazon side of things, for them to make money, I don't know if you've ever received a package or not received a package from Amazon. When you call in, they're so quick to just say, oh, don't worry about it. We'll refund it. We'll send another one. I've never done this, but they're so fast to return the package without even like questioning or asking anybody that, you know, they could be losing out on money. Like, let's say there's a dishonest person out there that actually did receive a package and then, oh no, I didn't get my package. A lot of times Amazon's still going to turn around and do the quote unquote right thing for the consumer, but that obviously costs them money. With that being said, if there was a way that they could guarantee that that package did make it to you, or if it didn't make it to you, they could find it, they'd be saving a ton of money there. Looks like we got SK Delph in the chat. Welcome, welcome. I remember you from the XYO group. Hope you're doing well today, and you're not late. You're not late. I'll catch you up on everything. Essentially, I'm sure you probably have seen, but the Spatial by XYO network keynote from today, right around the hour and 8 minutes mark, is where the mention of SpaceX comes into play. Okay, good, doing great, awesome, me as well. So yeah, so right around the hour and 8 minute mark is where that that mention of SpaceX. He kind of says it a little bit backwards. It's more so alluding to the fact that there's a partnership with SpaceX, which again, to me, that doesn't necessarily mean partners like we're now business partners, we're in business together. It's just an agreement that was reached between those two parties, those two companies, in order to get a satellite or set of satellites launched to assist the XYO network. And then from there, we saw big gains. Again, max was about 44% at the peak here today, but we're hovering around the 30% mark over 24 hours right now, which is phenomenal. Those are great gains. So anybody who watched again the video how to purchase the XYO tokens on Idec using MetaMask, you're probably not doing too bad, I would say. So congratulations on first of all caring about blockchain technology enough to actually try purchasing XYO, because it wasn't as straightforward as even I had assumed going into making the video. There were a number of headaches which you didn't see in the final version of that video, such as, you know, price limits on the actual IDEX market itself, etc. But anyone that followed along and was able to get in before, you know, today, you're doing very well. I would say still hold, or as we say here in the crypto world, hodl. Now, here's something very important about the term hodl. It just means hold. You can Google it if you want. Anything I say, you can Google, I promise. It just means hold. It stems from a forum. I believe it was the Bitcoin Talk forum. And someone was drunk one day saying that he's just going to hodl all his coins. And apparently he tried to rewrite it a few times, but he was drunk late night when he was typing it. And so he misspelled the word hold a bunch of times and just left it. And it just kind of became this thing, this kind of running joke, meme, whatever you want to call it, in the crypto space. So whenever you hear the term hodl, and it's not pronounced hodl, it's pronounced hodl, you'd say all the same letters the same way, you're just flipping them around. If you see someone saying that it stands for hold on for dear life, I want you to tell that person that they are wrong. And you can tell them I said it. That's something that came out afterwards. That was someone uninitiated to the crypto space. I think it was a media outlet that said it stood for hold on for dear life, and it doesn't. So you'll hear Scott say hodl all the time. You're going to hear other terms like FOMO, the fear of missing out, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt. There's a number of different terms that you'll hear in the crypto space. And honestly, I think probably one of the easiest ways to learn all the different terminology is going to be if I make some sort of a video regarding it. So I was thinking about making like a crypto boot camp. And then like day one of boot camp is going to be like learning all the terminology. And like we're going to have like army fatigues and like like Nerf guns and stuff, like, oh, this is my rifle. So I'm not sure if we're going to go like the whole, get dressed up route, but it really might be fun. One of the partners here at Bits and Tokens is actually out now at a thrift store, seeing if she can source some additional battle dress uniform for us. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, we're going to do a crypto boot camp to try to get everybody like totally up to speed with everything. Let's see here. Jack Monroe says, I'm going to have to get busy and pay closer attention to your video. Did you include talking about using a ledger in the process? Jack, me and you are now officially best friends. Give me a second here. Give me 1 second. So I personally never go anywhere without my ledger. Now, in the actual video itself, I didn't get a chance to mention how to use a ledger in the whole process, but if you were able to follow along the whole way through the video and making deposits, transferring, your ETH to MetaMask, from MetaMask to Idec, you basically know, the remainder of the steps in order to get everything onto this here device. The way that the ledger works is to send tokens here. You don't even need the ledger itself. You need the ledger, obviously, to set up your wallet initially, but you don't actually need physical access to the ledger to send the tokens here. The only thing that you need is your Ethereum public address. So not your private keys. Never, ever, ever share your private keys with anyone. In fact, if you're able to access your ledger private keys, you're doing way too much. It's a tedious process to extract the private keys from a ledger. It is possible if you know your seed phrase. You'll almost never need to do that, and I would recommend that you probably don't do that. The private keys are cryptographically secure on this ledger. The only way that you would really need the private keys is if if someone stole your ledger or something like that, and you wanted to, clone it to a new one. That's definitely possible. But your public keys or your public address is where you'll send those XYO tokens. And so I've got my public address like just kind of written down in an email somewhere, so that way I could just go back to it whenever I have to send stuff there. But right from Idec itself, you'll just go ahead and do a transfer, I believe it is. They have different terms for different things, but I believe what you'll want to do is actually, I'm gonna go into full balances here. So my Idec balance. So they have withdraw, which withdraw brings it back to MetaMask. But then they also have transfer, which is the feature I was trying to use the other day when I ran into the kind of snafu of the gas fees. But you'll want to transfer from Idec over to the address that holds your Ledger wallet. So not a hard process there, and it'll definitely keep your coins safe. I do currently still have mine on the Idec exchange, just waiting on a little bit more ETH, so that way I can do a few more things. I want to buy some more XYO and just do the transfer all at once. So yes, definitely a smart question. You'll hear in almost all of my videos me mentioning hardware wallets and specifically the Ledger Nano S. What do you guys think about this? I was thinking, just a random thought here. So the ledger itself is made up of two parts. There's the actual ledger, and then there's this kind of metal part. I was thinking it would be super, super cool. Okay, obviously I'm struggling here to get this off. It would be super cool if I took this metal part and I got it like dipped in gold. Do you think that would be super cool or what? I don't know. I'm just talking crap, but I think that would be super cool to have a ledger that's like totally just dipped in gold. I know they make like special editions, but I think I'm gonna make a few of those and see how that goes. Maybe give them out or something like that. Anyways, let's see here if we've got any other questions. So no other questions yet in the chat. Again, thank you guys so much for joining from the actual XYO group. Yeah, SK, the ledger is pretty nifty, I think. I think it is pretty nifty. It just makes it really safe to keep your stuff. And then I just wanna bling mine out a little bit. So in any event here, oh wow, we can see the price actually fluctuating in USD here. I'm gonna go back to the chart where it was showing XYO. Can I get my price chart back? Whenever you're ready, let's refresh that. Okay, this happens every time you go to Idec, which I like. It makes it so that it's not possible to shut down the site using what's known as a DDoS or a denial of service attack. Getting DOSed is not fun, and so you'll find a lot of crypto websites employ a technology called Cloudflare, or I guess Idec kind of has something built in to where they're checking to make sure that your IP is not trying to wear out the network and all sorts of other stuff. It would look right now to me as though, like I was mentioning a little bit earlier in the chat, one of the things that I was slightly worried about / not really is that all of those people that were getting 1 million tokens were going to come in and try to sell all their tokens. It looks like we're seeing some sell volume here. Pretty decent volume. This number here where it says volume, since we know that we're trading XYO for ETH or ETH for XYO, the volume is going to be registered in ETH. So 447 Ethereum worth of transactions have occurred today in this particular exchange for XYO. Now, one of the other things that was mentioned from the keynote, really important. They are working on getting on exchanges. All other exchanges aside, I don't know about you guys, the one that I'm personally excited for is Binance. If they can get on Binance, that's super mainstream. I don't care what the numbers say about like BitThumb being a more popular or more populated exchange than Binance. I don't believe that to one bit. Binance doesn't conduct themselves with any sort of wash trading, which is basically just buying and selling to increase the volume. To make it look more appealing, because what traders go for is they go for volume. They want to go to exchanges that have a lot of volume on them. And so what BitThumb may have done, I don't know. I haven't specifically looked into it in the same way that other people have, but other people are purporting that BitThumb is wash trading. So they're just increasing the volume, making it look more attractive for traders to come in. But really, it's Binance. The Binance effect is crazy. Don't worry too much about Coinbase. Honestly, I don't see it as being an important place for XYO to be. I really don't. Coinbase, although yes, they are listing multiple other coins now. I think they just listed BAT like yesterday or the day before, which is cool. It's basic attention token. I have my own qualms about BAT. I'm of the belief that not everything needs to be tokenized and not everybody needs their own currency. But that's neither here nor there. They also recently listed another currency, 0x, which helps create things like decentralized exchanges using the 0x protocol. So that is it makes sense. They were already planning on using 0x proprietary software on the back end for Coinbase Pro. But I don't see it as being a specific need for them to list the XYO currency on Coinbase. Though once we get on Binance, I will say the Binance effect, just like Crypto Miner is saying in the chat, the FOMO will fully kick in. Um, right now, if you're watching this, you're among some of the first literally in the world that know about this partnership. I've not seen it on news outlets. It's really not something that's being picked up on um, across the crypto space. So it's really interesting because a lot of the people that get into some of these projects early on are people that are really well versed in crypto. They're always looking up different currencies and what they're doing, but it really seems like we're on the shoulders of a sleeping giant right now. And I'm sure Crypto Miner would probably agree. We're still in plenty early compared to what the real FOMO is going to look like. That real fear of missing out is going to be just, I mean, leaps and bounds beyond this. We've not even broken, a penny yet. Once XYO is worth a penny, that's when things really start to pick up. A lot of times, from there, from going from 1 penny to 2 pennies, it doesn't seem like a lot, but that's a 100% increase. That means you've doubled your money going from 1 penny to 2 pennies. But we routinely see things go from 1 penny to 3 pennies in a night in the crypto world. So I don't want to speculate too hard. Again, anyone who knows me from the XYO group, I'm not a financial advisor, not the official guy for anything. Crypto Miner can tell you I'm not the ERC20 man. But what I can tell you is that I personally have invested in both XYO, the currency, as well as the XY Findables company. And so I'm really excited to see what the future of this is. Now, one other thing that I did notice that I kind of want to mention is while, yes, I would recommend purchasing Crypto Miner, while I would recommend purchasing the XYO tokens, I saw a guy in the group that was mentioning wanting to use his credit cards to buy the tokens. If you have the money, it's really cheap right now to buy 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 of these things and just wait. Spending 15 or 20 bucks to get in now and literally just putting it on the ledger, wearing the ledger around your neck and just going about your business for, 6 months or however long, I think it'll do you well. Think about it this way. I've got about 4,000-ish tokens, a little bit more than that right now. If they were to go up to $1, which it would take a while, there's other currencies in line to hit that mark first, like XRP, etc. But if XYO were to actually get up to $1, I'd have $4,000 after spending only 15. Now that's a long ways away, but it's entirely possible because right now the entire price is based on free market speculation. What that means is, yes, the XY Findables company has products, but the XYO network, there's no mainnet yet, which is why the tokens are still ERC20 tokens, meaning that they're based on the Ethereum, I believe it's the Ethereum request for comment standard number 20. Essentially, that just means that someone proposed a change along the 20th request for comment, and that is a standard that has been implemented for other people to create tokens underneath Ethereum. But in order for this to really shine, chances are what they're going to do is going to do a mainnet swap. And that's one of the other reasons why I'm excited for places like Binance, because Binance typically will announce that they're fully in support of all the mainnet swaps, meaning that you don't have to do the legwork like you had to do, let's say, for example, with EOS. EOS was another token that had a really complicated mainnet swap that I was not really super happy about. I actually am still down 10 EOS, which I bought at like $13. So we're not going to really talk about that. But I have EOS as the ERC20 tokens, which are currently frozen, which is what I'm assuming will happen with XYO. And I also have EOS somehow, somewhere on the EOS mainnet. So if I were able to access that, I'm sure the process with XYO is going to be much, much easier because there are a lot of new people to cryptocurrency invested, and I don't think they would leave anybody out. So when they do that mainnet swap, that's when the tokens are actually really going to be useful. What you have now is essentially a placeholder. Imagine this as the digital tokens, right? This is the XYO coin. I still got mine in my cool little package. So imagine I gave you this token here, and I said, come back when we're actually open, and I'll swap this token out for you for the real token. That's essentially what an ERC20 token is. It's going to be something that is used to raise capital, and that capital is then used to build a mainnet or an actual service. And then once that service is built, you have the right, or in my instance, I've got 4,000 some odd rights to the actual coins when they are ready, when those are minted. And then typically what happens there is it's going to be a 1-for-1 peg. There's not going to be really any bamboozling, no dilution, anything like that. If there are, you'll be able to notice it. It's things that we'll all be able to call out, which is why I absolutely love the cryptocurrency networks and blockchain and just technologies in general. One of the things that you can do is you can look at the XYO contract. So for example, let's see if nope, it won't bring me there. Hold on, give me a second. Can I copy the whole thing? No. All right. We're going to do this a little bit of a different way. Let me see if I can. XYO contract address. All right. So on Etherscan, you'll be able to see when new things happen to this contract address. Meaning, if for some reason XYO or XY or whoever were to decide that they wanted to mint additional coins, you would be able to see it here. I look all the time. Trust me. I'll let you guys know as soon as I see it if anything funny happens. But cryptocurrencies are totally transparent. So let's see here. It looks like from this contract address, lots of tokens being purchased. None of these look like the 1 million. Okay, maybe that's one of them. Nope. Let's see here. So yeah, I don't see any of the 1 million that they were giving away. But in any event, you'd be able to see all sorts of stuff, right? So like I can see holders, and this will actually show me who holds the most. So we can see here that I actually really like these numbers. 32% of XYO is held by this person. 24% is held by this person. And we don't know who these people specifically are. You know what I mean? It's an address. There's kind of ways that you might be able to deduce who someone may be based on other transactions, but that's a lot of work that I don't personally have time for. But essentially, you'll be able to use this website here, Etherscan, and that contract address to see what's happening on the back end, right? You'll also be able to kind of see the price here if you don't want to look on CoinMarketCap, or if you do want to look on CoinMarketCap, you'll be able to see the price there as well. So very, very transparent, and I really enjoy the fact that I can just check up on this stuff on a whim whenever I so choose. You guys likewise are also able to do that and checking up on this whenever you so choose. It's this is all public information, and Etherscan is one of the websites that you'll maybe want to bookmark, so you can just kind of have that. There's a few sites that we routinely use here in the crypto space. CoinMarketCap is one of them where you can, visit and see all the different, prices of everything. Etherscan obviously is one where you can see different transactions. Like for example, in the description of this video here and all of my videos, you'll find my Ethereum address, the Ethereum address that's linked here. If you wanted to, you'd be able to put that into Etherscan and see all of the transactions that I've done, see all of my holdings, etc. The address that's there is more of my public address. I do have an address that I keep private, obviously. With the Ledger Nano, I think there's like 100 or like 200 or some ungodly number of Ethereum, Bitcoin, etc. addresses that you can have access to. I used the first one and I put it up as an example. of what an Ethereum address looks like. And so you would also be able to literally take my Ethereum address, paste it right there, and you'd get something that looks like this. Although you wouldn't see a lot going out, as there's also not a lot coming in. With that being said, though, this is one of the reasons why we all love cryptocurrencies. It's just very, very transparent. I'm noticing here that there are a few additional people that have just joined, so thank you very much for joining. My name is Tim, aka the Bitcoin Weatherman. You'll remember me from the XYO group as Timothy Robinson. That is the full government. In any event, though, what we're talking about today is some of these crazy gains that have happened. And to be honest, I was thinking about selling at 30%, maybe waiting a little bit to see what happens, because usually after you see these huge candles, you'll kind of see it cool off a little bit. There's a few different terms for that. The media loves to call that a crash. It's not a crash. It's a correction or a retracement, depending on how serious you are about cryptocurrencies. You'll call it a correction if you're just trading, and you'll call it a retracement if you're super, super serious and you're using if you're using math, most notably the math related to the Fibonacci sequence. You'll call it a retracement if you're using that to trade. I don't specifically use Fibonacci when I'm trading, although just to briefly touch on it, technically every live and non-live part of Earth follows the Fibonacci spiral, and so that's part of what's used to help gauge what humans are going to do on the markets. It's a wildly successful trading strategy that is terribly hard to understand at first, but if you guys are interested in actually trading, that may be something that I guess we can bring up in the crypto bootcamp. Which again, if some of you are new to this live stream here, what I was mentioning earlier is doing a crypto bootcamp, so that way you guys can know all the terminology. Looking on my whiteboard over here, I was going to mention things like FUD, FOMO, HODL. I was going to mention the difference between a coin, token, and a commemorative round. I know you guys remember that from the chat. We're going to talk about charts and candles. So this overall is a chart, and each of these things here is a candle. As you can imagine, a green candle means that there was profit, and a red candle means that there was some loss in that time frame. We're going to talk about a bunch of stuff like market cap, exchanges, the term fiat, all-time highs. I was going to warn you guys about pump and dump schemes. Just a whole bunch of, there's a super long list of things that I wanted to go over just to make sure that we're all kind of on the same page here. Let's see here. Absolutely should. Thanks. No, I absolutely will. And in fact, where's my phone? Let me check and see. Okay, so the last message I received from one of my partners here at Bits and Tokens, her name's Annalise. You'll find her in probably the majority of our videos. Honestly, I've been doing a lot of videos lately because she's been working her other job a lot. I've been doing a lot of the videos here lately, but the last message I got was that she is in fact leaving work, going to a thrift store, picking up an additional battle dress uniform so we can look the part of the whole boot camp theme. And then taking it from there. So we get silly over here all the time. We like to just have as much fun as we can. We have a video from, oh my God, this video is terrible. We have a video from so long ago where she literally dressed up as a miner to explain Bitcoin mining. And she literally bought, this girl is crazy. She's not crazy. She's fantastic. I really, really close friend of mine, so I can say whatever I want. She literally bought a hat, like a mining hat, like a hard hat, a pickaxe, and then we found some cinder blocks and literally almost broke my floor to try and demonstrate mining in a funny way. So we routinely dress up and act silly here on this channel. I find that a lot of the other channels are very committed. I find that a lot of the other channels are They sit there and they're like, yes, and blockchain technology and cryptocurrency and words that you are not familiar with and purchase this. It's just, it makes it so hard to follow that it's just like, you know, who has time to sit there for that? I'd rather just kick it with you guys, answer whatever questions you have, like really engage in the community and find out what it is that's important to you. Not everything is going to be important to all, you know, different people. And I've honestly found more luck in growing this channel overall, instead of just making videos that the initiated would understand, really slowing down and helping more people get in this space, which is part of what I want to do anyway, because I like educating. I like to share the knowledge that I have. But then also, I'm really pushing for adoption of cryptocurrencies to the point that we literally on the weekends will go out and give away $10 worth of Bitcoin to the people that we speak to about Bitcoin. I've got 2 videos up already. We did one where it's called like giving people Bitcoin in the hood. That was a really fun video. And then there was another video where I just put that one up recently. I think it was today actually. I just put that up, where we went to a college or a university over here in South Florida. It's FIU, Florida International University. And we chatted with a bunch of people about Bitcoin, and anyone who was willing to have a conversation with us, we gave away $10 worth of BTC. Most of the people had never owned cryptocurrency or never owned Bitcoin before. Now, I didn't explain to those people what they can do with their Bitcoin, how to do it, where to go do it, because I want them to go learn and find that stuff out on their own. And if I'm there, you know, holding the hand the whole time, well, this is how you cash it out and turn it back into $10. I might as well have just given you $10 and said thank you for the interview. But my goal is empowering and educating people so that way they can get out there and be self-sufficient, right? So a phrase that I coined or what have you a while back is based on an old adage, right? You can teach a man to fish, and that'll feed him, you know, forever. But if you teach a man to learn how to fish, it's no longer just fish that he's capable of bringing in. If you can teach someone how to learn, the fine cuisines of the world are no limit to them, you know? And so really my goal is not just to teach you guys how to fish, but specifically to teach you guys how to learn about these things, where to go to learn about these things. And I want to make this channel as educational as possible. Now, obviously, that comes with, you know, participation and growing. In order for this to be a trusted kind of authority in the crypto space, it's really going to require you wonderful, wonderful people in the chat here now, and just, you know, people in general, sharing, subscribing, you know, I don't want to say like singing the praises, but if you found value, sharing that value that you found with other people and telling them that they can get it from here, because that certainly encourages us to keep moving. I can certainly say that since dropping that video on how to purchase the coins on Idec here, wow, we went up like crazy in subscribers. I think it was like 360 or 370 or something like that. We're almost at 400 right now. So honestly, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate that, honestly, from the bottom of my heart. It makes it so that like I'm not just doing this and no one cares. You know, seeing people in the chat here shows me that you care, and then knowing that you have, you know, the questions that you have, you know, really makes me happy. I'm really here to answer any questions that you have, because that tells me that adoption is happening, that more people are curious, more people are willing to learn, and so I'll keep moving forward with it. Speaking of any non-XYO, just crypto in general related questions I can tackle right now for anybody here in the chat. Let's see, Facebook's making a bunch of noise at me. Let's move that over here for a second. Facebook's making a bunch of noise at me. Oh, people have liked the post in the XYO chat. Okay. Let's see here. So looks like maybe not too many more questions now. What I would say is don't be shy. The best place to leave your questions is going to be in any of the comments of any of the videos. We are pretty quick to getting these videos out, and so everything is in-house. I think one day I might actually give a tour of like the studio, because it's not cozy at all. It takes up. Let's just say this: I no longer have a living or a dining room. My apartment has really nice vaulted ceilings, which I don't even know why, but I have really tall vaulted ceilings, so my light can shine on me. So I want to show you guys like the actual studio because it's pretty big in here. Like we really spent money to be able to show you guys how to do all this stuff. So Gunny says, can I transfer from Idec to the Ledger Nano? Yes, you can. You certainly can. I'll make a video about that in the coming days. Maybe a few days from now, I'll make a video of the actual transfer process. What I wanted to do was I actually wanted to purchase a little bit more XYO before I make the transfer from Idec over here. But yes, you can transfer your XYO tokens. If you Gunny, did you follow the tutorial to be able to purchase the XYO tokens from Idec? Like, do you already have the tokens themselves? I'm gonna wait on your Motley Fool Stock Advisor. Well, it has the name Fool in it. I would basically say, the thing about major kind of media outlets, they're late to the game. A lot of times what they want to do is they want to tell you stuff after someone's already got some shares, right? So like, let's say the video that I made, right? Like I had already purchased my XYO like way previous. It kind of could have been seen as like manipulation to some degree. Whereas I literally made a video of me purchasing the tokens for the first time and rushed to immediately upload it, right? Whereas like Motley Fool, obviously they're a for-profit company, right? I haven't yet seen a profit from what I do here. And so I don't know. Here's what I do when I pick stocks, because I do invest in the stock market as well. I look for companies that are undervalued. I put my money in and I close my eyes. Very, very rarely do I sell unless I am anticipating that there's going to be multiple days of downtrend that I want to either avoid or kind of hedge against. I really don't sell though. I haven't seen a reply yet in the chat from Gunny, but you're obviously talking about the XYO tokens and moving them off of Idec into a ledger. Yes. So what you would do is whatever page you're on, you'll come over here to balances. You can go to full balances and it'll show you what you have available. And then what you'll want to do from here, you can see here I've got like 4,000 some odd XYO. I would then go to transfer. That would pull up the MetaMask right here. It would ask me to actually, no, I don't think it would pull up MetaMask. We're going to just play around and see what it does. I haven't actually done the transfer yet, so I don't want to lie to you. I like to give like the full, information. When I last tried it, when I last tried it, this is actually what I remember. So if I were to go transfer entire balance, why does it not show me that? Anyways, so what I would do here is the link that I have in my description of this video is my ETH address. So I would go over there and I would paste it in here into the address bar, which obviously it's not going to be a YouTube address. And then it'll tell you what the estimated transaction fee in gas would be for transferring the amount that you're looking to transfer. So I'm not sure why it's not showing me balance. Maybe I do have to take it back from here to MetaMask first. Maybe there's a withdraw and then a transfer that I have to do. Honestly, I'm not sure because I've never gotten out of Idec, but like I said, I promise you, I'll make a video on it. I'll probably do it like once or twice first just to make sure I've got the whole process down. which I'll have to put in a little bit more ETH to cover the gas fees, what have you. But I'll probably do the process like once or twice first, make sure I've got it down, and then I'll make that video of exactly how the transfer works. But it's going to be one of these. It's going to either be a withdraw to MetaMask to the ledger, or a transfer just right from here to the ledger. The fact that you're asking about the ledger, I'm really glad that you're asking about that. That means that you have one, which means that you're very serious about keeping your cryptocurrency safe. So Gunny says, scared to transfer it. Well, no. So I mean, when I see this page here, what it's telling me is as soon as it pops up again, to put in the address. I can choose the amount I want to transfer. I choose transfer entire balance, and I hit transfer. The only way that would go awry, since this is a decentralized exchange, is if you incorrectly copy the address. If you've got your ledger and you have your ledger already set up, then I'm sure you know where to find your address. There's a button to copy it, so that way you don't have to type it or like try to copy it like manually, and then you're missing a number. Like you don't have to go like that, and then you're missing that 2 or anything like that. It'll be literally a button that you click. It'll copy it for you. Then you'll come over here and do a transfer. If you do feel like waiting just to, make sure first, I totally get it. A lot of people are new to XYO, to cryptocurrencies in general. So I totally get it. I'll make that video on how to do the transfer first, and then I'll come back with the real deal information for you. So yeah, looking at this, I really want to say that either some of the people that were already holding XYO, or some of the people that just received basically free XYO today, the free basically $1 million tokens, which, what does that come out to now with this rate? Like 3,400, 3,200, something like that. I'm usually pretty quick with the math, but something around there is what that amount should be, right now. It looks like we have had some sales occur. So either people are taking profits, which I can't be mad at you for taking profits, or people just received their free tokens and have sold. But if you sold today after already previously having XYO tokens, after finding out that XY is partnered with SpaceX to launch satellites into the sky, I mean, I don't know. We don't do that over here. What we do over here is we identify projects that are going to be really strong moving forward, and we just put some money in and don't look at it anymore, and then we'll come back later. I also do a fair bit of trading, like for XRP, but for the most part, what we do is we invest like long term into things that we really believe in. And so if you thought that this was a good day, I hate to break it to you, we haven't even reached a penny yet. We're not listed on any major exchanges yet. Like for anyone watching, that the process for getting into XYO from Idec is not the easiest process, right? It did take a little bit of finagling, which is why I had to make that video for you guys. But it wasn't the most straightforward process. For me, I use a website like this. This is Binance, right? And let's say, for example, I'm on the home page. I go to funds, deposits. Okay, well, there's that. It wants me to sign in again. So give me a second. $2FA. Give me a moment here. That's another thing. Anywhere that you can use two-factor authentication, I recommend using it. It will make it so that unless somebody has access specifically to your phone, and I'm not worried about you guys having seen that 2FA code because it changes literally every minute and 20 seconds or something like that. Anyways, yeah, I recommend using that anytime you can. But let's say, for example, right, I wanted to deposit Bitcoin onto Binance. It's literally log into Binance, show a QR code, go from Coinbase to buy the Bitcoin, and then I scan that QR code right there on my computer, and I'm in there. Don't scan my QR code. That's mine. I mean, if you want to send it, that's fine, but don't, because it'll send it to me, not you. Okay, so Navi, thank you so much, Navi. Okay, so Navi is saying that you have to withdraw to MetaMask first and then transfer from MetaMask. Navi, let me ask you this question. So what on earth is that transfer button on Idec then? What is the purpose of that? Like, obviously I know we can go from MetaMask to really anywhere that we want to go, but what the heck is the purpose of having that transfer button over here? Is that not, am I reading that wrong? Is that not for transferring the XYO over? Neither here nor there. Excuse me. If you're saying that, I'm inclined to believe you just based on I haven't done it yet. But again, I will. I'll definitely make a video regarding it. Let's see here. Gunny says I bought more. Okay, so I'm scared going from Idec to Ledger because it doesn't say XYO in the Ledger. Okay, so here's a really important point. Any single coin ever that is listed as an ERC20 token, you can send that to your Ethereum address. You can't send Bitcoin to your Ethereum address. Your Bitcoin goes to your Bitcoin address. Your Bitcoin Cash goes to your Bitcoin Cash address. But anything that is an ERC20 token based on the Ethereum standard, you send that to your Ethereum address. So I'm gonna use an example here. Watch, I'll show you guys something really quick. I'm gonna show you guys something really quick. So give me 1 second. I'm pulling up my ETH address now. All right. So if I were to, where do I want to go? I want to go to my Ether wallet. Okay. So on this website here, my Ether wallet, essentially you can, it's similar to Etherscan, except that you have more interactions. And so I'm just going to go to view wallet info with address only to pull up my particular address here. And then so it'll show you like all my balances and stuff. And then over here, you can see all of the coins that are not Ethereum that I have. And then I promised, I told you guys, I had $10 or 10.9 EOS in there. Some of these, like this is like a weird marketing campaign that they just picked a bunch of addresses and sent their tokens to. This was a scam. Got to watch out for some of those ICOs. Some of them aren't as good as XYO. And then here was an airdrop from owning EOS back when I only had 4-ish EOS in here. But as we can see here, that you can see your different tokens. Now, one thing is, where am I looking? Show all tokens. Okay, so show all tokens. I'm scrolling. I'm going to stop scrolling. I'm just going to go down. XYO. So if I were to have a balance of XYO on this Ethereum address, it would show up right here. So that essentially answers that question there for you. No need to be scared. You will be able to see it. Now, with some other ERC20 tokens, it's required that you, instead of just being able to automatically see it, like if it's a lesser known token or if they've not yet worked with Ether Wallet to get listed on there, you would have to add custom, which again, if you remember over here, we looked up the contract address. So you would take the contract address, put the contract address here, token symbol is going to be XYO, if I can spell, and decimals is almost always going to be 18. So if I were to go ahead and press save right there, if XYO wasn't a token that was already available, it would create the ability for me to see it. Regardless of whether you can see quote unquote that or not, it's there. And so you'll still be able to see it on Etherscan regardless. I promise. So Navi says you can only transfer from the transfer option if the tokens are already in MetaMask. Awesome. Crypto miner, can you use Trust Wallet on Idec or only MetaMask? Right now, the only way to get into Idec is with MetaMask. I don't think Is Trust Wallet supposed to be decentralized? The whole purpose of IDEX is that it's a DEX. That's another term that you'll hear. It's getting actually more popular now. A DEX is a decentralized exchange, right? So a lot of the exchanges are going to end in X. It stands for exchange. And so IDEX is a decentralized exchange based on the Ethereum platform. And so that's why they have you use MetaMask, so you can simply just sign in with MetaMask and then gain access. I have not seen any other ways to gain access. Really happy to have you in the chat here, Navi. Did you do you own any XYO currently? I'm assuming that's why you're here. You heard some of the news, or you were curious about some of the news regarding that super partnership today. Really just threw us up almost 40% at one point. Almost 40%. Awesome. Cool. When did you get into XYO? Was it recently? Have you been following for a while? I've been following for a while, but I didn't purchase into the XYO currency until recently, when I saw that there was a need for like a video explaining how to do it. So I did that out of kind of necessity to show the rest of the XYO Facebook fam how to do it. Have you been following XYO for a while, or what's that look like? Because I have their white paper from when like they were first announced in my white paper drawer, which I stopped doing. I now just make PDFs of them because the environment. But I've been following XYO for a while, and I was totally bummed out when I couldn't get the tokens through the initial sale. So a few weeks ago. Awesome. All right, cool. Well, welcome to the fam. You know, we're just here chatting about XYO, having ourselves a really good time. Shares. Once I saw your video, I bought tokens. Oh, okay, cool, Gunny. Awesome. Well, I'm glad that I was able to assist you in purchasing the tokens. Again, I know it's a little bit of a thing to actually get into buying the tokens, but I hope I made it as painless as I possibly could. So it looks like we cleared up a few things. It looks like you'll have to send it back to MetaMask first, then to the ledger. So I'll be doing that later tonight, probably a few times back and forth, just to make sure the process is very straightforward. Once I've got it nailed down, I'll show you guys. Usually once you actually get into crypto, it's one thing leads into another, and it's really easy if you know how to do, 1, 2, 3, you know how to do XYZ. So you guys probably won't even need me after a while, honestly. You'll probably be self-sufficient after a while, but really my goal was just kind of to show some of the uninitiated people. But yeah, I'll definitely make that second video of how to get everything back onto the ledger. I don't know why I don't have like a link where like you could buy a ledger and it would like give me like $1 or something. Cause like I've convinced so many people to get this fantastic device, and not cause like I'm a shill, or that's another term we'll have to teach you guys. Shill is someone who is like a super hardcore fan of something and they're always talking about it. It's not that I'm like a shill or like I get paid for it, but like I want to empower everybody in the same way that I'm empowered, and my coins stay safe by keeping them on my non-public address. So that means that they stay safe from people trying to hack, but it also stays safe from people knowing that it's me that actually owns those coins. Like if you look in the description, again, you'll find my Ethereum address. Again, you feel free to check out what I've got. It's not a lot on that public address. I don't specifically use it for storage per se. I do have, with your ledger, you get a ton of different addresses where you can send your stuff and keep everything safe. So I definitely recommend purchasing one. Anytime I leave my house, I wear it just in case somebody, recognizes that it's a ledger, and then we spark some conversation about crypto. I love making new crypto friends. Or if, just to be safe, you keep it right here. And it makes it so that nobody You know, let's say somebody breaks into my house or what have you. I mean, the ledger's usually always on me. Please don't break into my house. Really, you know, not a nice thing to do. But anyways, so let's see here. So I'm just gonna kind of scroll back up, make sure I'm not missing any part of the chat. And I think I've answered everything so far in the chat. Just gonna leave a little message there for everybody. You guys are awesome. You heard it here first. I think honestly that's really gonna wrap up everything I had to go over today. Again, the takeaways are XY Findables / XYO is now partnered with SpaceX, which to me means that we're launching satellites super soon, which to me means that the network is going to be more accessible, more reliable, and the utility value or the need for other companies to then purchase the XYO token is also going to go up, meaning the price is also going to go up, because that's what happens. When more people are buying, typically the price will go up, and when more people are selling, typically the price will go down. So with that being said, thank you all so much for joining. I don't even know how long we've been at this, but it's been really fun for me. We'll definitely do more live streams again in the future. And typically I do have a co-host that sits right here on this side. But again, she is out running around sourcing materials for our crypto bootcamp that we're going to be doing, so we can get you guys initiated even further into the blockchain world. So with that being said, again, thank you so much for joining. I'm out of here.